growing in. That way I don't have to reseed or wait for them to germinate. Okay, I'm loving this fabric for spring. I'm looking for spring pillows. I'm loving this fabric. It's so fresh. Tone on tone. Awesome. Okay, let's look in the bargain bins here. I'm looking for a light springy fabric. Tone on tone maybe, or a really small print. Too colorful for me. I love this place. It's like my wonderland. Okay, this one, I'm loving this one too. It's very delicate. Just want to add a little bit of lightness, but life for the pillows. This is going in the living room where we refinish that piece of furniture, which is around that color. I'm just loving it.
Good morning, cozy family. Today we're working on decor for my living room. I went to one of my favorite places, Fabricland, and I looked for fabric to recover some pillows for spring. Every season I like to usually change out the pillows. So what I do is I make covers for them and just use the same pillow fills and change them out for the season. In the winter I like to have cozy textured fabrics, and in the spring I like to have fresh light fabrics. So I went to Fabricland and I found a fabric. So this is the fabric I chose. It is a lighter fabric, it's sort of a muslin type fabric, and it's got a very small print on it. I love that it's neutral and that we're able to use it on the couch, because my couch is kind of dominant because it's more of a camel color. So I want to have something that gives it a little bit of life. So having a small print like this, that'll do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make 3 pillows out of this one fabric. I got 1.2 meters. I'm going to show you how easy it is to make covers for your pillows, and they're removable so you can wash them. And I don't use zippers, and the reason for that is because zippers over time when you're washing them, they'll warp and they'll pucker, and I hate that look. So what I do is I make an envelope back like that. So you slide the pillow in and it just covers it nicely. You can use it that way, you can use it this way. On this pillow, this was for winter. And this pillow, I was thinking of putting wooden buttons here because I think that would just add to the texture. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna use this fill. I'm gonna take that cover off, use this fill for the new pillows. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove this pillow cover and use it as a pattern, because we know that it actually fits this pillow. Okay, so I'm gonna flip it inside out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spread the fabric out here on the table, like this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut 2 of the pieces full length here. I'm not going to stop here because this has an overlap. So one of the pieces will be shorter, which is that piece, okay, 1 square. And this piece will have to be longer because there has to be an overlap, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna cut this down here. Make sure your ends are even. Give it a little bit of room here for the seam allowance. You're gonna wanna watch your seam allowance here, okay? So what we're gonna do is leave a little bit of room there for the seam. And I'm gonna cut straight across the fabric. There we go, that's one. So here it is. Okay? Now, one of them, one piece, the front piece, is just one piece. So we're gonna cut the one piece, I'm just gonna make the fabric into a single, and I'm gonna cut that one piece. Let's go like that. We know that this and this is even, and there's a little bit for a seam allowance. Here I'm gonna do the same thing. I just wanna cut that little end off because the pattern, this is the end of the fabric, and the pattern stops there. So let's just cut a little bit, leave a little bit for a seam allowance. That's gone, okay. Now we're gonna cut just a single square, and remember the seam allowances. Leave just a little bit of fabric. See, this is already a seam allowance here. Okay, so now you have your one square, like that. Now what we're gonna do is use the rest of that piece that I just cut, okay? And we're gonna measure how big these pieces are here. Okay, so we know that that one goes to there. Now, I'm gonna leave, this fabric did not have to be turned in or have a seam for it not to fray, but this one does. So I have to leave a little bit extra room to turn that, see here? A little bit extra room here to turn that in to give it a seam. So I'm gonna cut one piece here, leave a little bit of a seam allowance. Okay, that's one piece. Then the other piece goes to here, goes right to here. So let's do that. Actually, let's do it this way so it's not confusing. Okay, leave your little seam allowance here. And we know from this pattern here, we're just gonna go to there, right there. So I'm gonna snip it here so I know, and then I'm gonna leave a little bit to turn in. It's nice when it has a pattern so you can cut it nice and straight. So there we go. We now have two pieces. So that's the wrong, oop, it's the same both sides. If you were having a fabric that had an inside and an outside, make sure that you have that, the inside of the fabric facing you, okay? Then what you're gonna do is just go like that, so that the insides are together. Insides are together, okay? You're gonna go like that, and you're gonna go like this. So now you have exactly what you need for a whole pillow. Just like this. This has three pieces, the full piece, and then two of these pieces that will overlap so that it's like an envelope, a pocket. So now we have both pieces. Here's one, here's two for the one side, and then there's the full side. So let's repeat that and make another pillow. So now I'm just gonna use these as the pattern, the ones we just cut. So I'll open the fabric again. Cut the single piece like we did last time. Okay, that's your single piece. Okay, we have enough to make a third full-size pillow. And that's only with 1.2 meters of fabric. Now I'm going to show you how to put this together. And you can use adhesive sewing tape if you don't have a sewing machine. Okay, so we have the front, okay, with the inside, with the outside, with the proper side facing me. Then we have this pair of backs, these overlapping backs. So what you're going to want to do is one goes like this, over that. It's hard to see with this pattern, but, and one goes like this. Okay? So you see, it's like an envelope. Okay. So what I want to do before I sew all of this together, all four sides, is I want to put a seam across this. This piece and this piece. Okay? Because you don't want it to be a finished edge when you flip it inside out. Okay? So I'm going to take this piece right here and I'm going to make a little seam. Just turn it twice, like a little seam, like that. Okay, so let's move that. So here's the part of the seam that you want to make a little turn, a little finished seam. So I'm going to flip it this way, this much, and then I'm going to flip it again. Okay? Flip. Now you could pin this so that you have it even, but I just do it. I've been sewing for years. So you're just going to put a straight edge on it. If you were doing this with the tape, you would just do the exact same thing and tuck the tape underneath here, right here, and then iron it. There you go. Very quick. So now you have a little seam. Can you see that? A little finished seam. That goes on the one side, like that. So now let's get the other one and make a seam like that too. This is where the pins come in. So what you're going to do, here's your square. You're going to want to put right sides of the fabric together. So see, this is the wrong side of the fabric. As you can see, that's the wrong side of the fabric sticking out towards me, facing me. Okay? And you're going to put this one like an envelope, just overlap it. See? We're going to use that as a guide. Okay, just like that. See how that's done? We're going to use that. Now I just take pins and I just pin it all around. Like that, all in the same direction, obviously, so that when you're sewing you can pull them out. Or if you're doing this with the adhesive sewing tape, you don't have to do this at all. You just put the sewing tape underneath this seam right there, nice and straight, and then iron it. Okay, so we have all sides pinned, But like I said, if you're using the tape, you don't have to pin this. You just have to put the tape in nice and straight between the 2 layers of fabric, and that's it. And now I'm just going to sew that all around. Okay, so now I'm gonna sew starting here, and don't forget to leave your little seam allowance there. Okay, so I've sewed all 4 sides like that, okay? So the pocket, here's the other. There you go. Now, what I do before I flip this inside out is I just snip the corners here because it helps the corners to be sharper when you flip it inside out. There you go. So I've snipped all the corners. So now what we're gonna do is just flip it inside out. Put your fingers in to the corners, like that. This needs a good ironing, but there you go. You have made a little pillow envelope back pillow cover, just like that. Now, this is so cute that you could actually put little buttons here. Just fake little buttons, they don't have to actually work, but just little buttons here, and that would be so cute. Even wooden buttons would be really nice, but okay, now let's stuff the pillow and see how that goes. Okay, so this is the pillow that I'm going to stuff in there, okay? And you can see the way it fits. So all you have to do is just put it in that way, tuck it in, and you want a nice tight fit because you don't want floppy pillows. So flip it. This is the harder part of it because you really got to stuff it in there. There we go. Bring it out. Now, you're going to tuck this little envelope, make sure it's nice and straight inside there so you don't have a bump. Put your hands in like that. Just like that. Now, there's a dark pillow underneath there so you can kind of see it, but I could use a white pillow fill. Just like that. Look how cute that is. And that's as easy as it is. So I'm gonna go ahead and make the other 2, and then we'll see them on the couch. This little corner is starting to take shape. It's reminding me of a little cottage. So here is the result of our work. Each pillow only takes about 10 minutes. So I think that's worth it. Decor pillows can run you anywhere from $30 to $60 to $70 or more dollars per pillow. The fabric that I got for these 3 pillows, I paid $21 for them. And it took us, what, 10 minutes to make each one. So I think that's worth it. Now, I'm gonna have to continue to add to the fabrics. Like this fabric here, I believe is too mauvey for these accent pillows. So what we'll do is we'll look for a more creamy fabric to go with this, to go with these pillows, sort of in the range of this cream here. But I think it's so worth it. This envelope front or back, depending on how you want to do it, is so lovely. They sit lovely. They fill them out really nicely, and you can just remove them and wash them. That's the great thing. I believe that our homes evolve and we curate them over time. So I just love adding little things here and there that just makes it feel more homey. I wanted to give you an update on my seedlings. It's been 14 days since we seeded them in the trays, and I wanted to show you what I do next to care for them. So as you can see here, these are the San Marzano tomatoes that I planted. And if you remember, I put 2 seeds in each of the cells to give me a better chance at germination. Well, the germination rate was very, very good because in here, in this one, I don't know how this happened, but there's actually 5 plants in here in this one. So now what we need to do is trim out the plants. You only want 1 plant per cell. And what I'm gonna do is if there's multiples in these cells, I'm gonna pick the stronger of the plants and then snip the other ones out. When you're doing this, you're gonna wanna make sure the scissors that you're using are disinfected because you could introduce bacteria to your plants and that's not a good thing. So these scissors are disinfected. And what I'm gonna do, as you can see here, let's say of these two, let's do these two. They both look strong, but of these two, I'm going to say that this one is a bit stronger. The leaves look a little more healthy than this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just snip that out. You're not gonna wanna pull it out because you'll disturb the roots of this one. So there you go. Now there's only one per cell here. Now here, you can see there's a huge difference between this one and this one. So I'm gonna snip out the weaker one, okay? This one only has one in this cell. Let's see this one. This one has 5, so that's way too much. So I'm just gonna snip the ones that don't look that strong. You don't wanna leave them in because they're taking up nutrition that the other plant needs. There we go. So now there's one in that cell as well. As you can see, this one had no germination whatsoever. Nothing came out in this. So what you could do is take one of these. I'm gonna snip out this one because it's a little weaker looking. Now these are too close together. Let me put you a little closer so you can see. So these are too close together for me to get one out safely and put it in this empty one. As you can see, they're really close together. So I don't want to do that. So I'm going to just snip this one because this one looks healthier. Now this one has 4 in it. But what I can do, let's take a couple of these out. This one is far enough away from these others that I can actually pluck that out and plant it here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna dig here a little bit, and you wanna hold them by the leaves, not the stem, because you could damage it. There you go. See that? So now I'm just going to make a little spot here and plant it right there. So now, even though nothing germinated in this area, I can have an extra plant. So now these two, which is the most healthy, I think it's this one. So let's snip that out. These guys are good. One, here we go. One. Now this one has 3. That's too much. So we're gonna snip this. Let's move this over just a little. So this one has 3. I'm gonna snip the little ones out and leave the healthy guys. This one also has 3 and snip that out. There we go. So now each of these has a single in it, and that just gives it the best chance. Because these have grown to this point, they now need fertilizer. Because these are the baby leaves that first come out, but these are the true leaves. As soon as the true leaves come out like this, you're gonna wanna fertilize because there's not enough nutrition in here to last for these plants. And then you're gonna fertilize every couple of weeks, okay? Until you put them in the ground. What you wanna do when you're fertilizing these seedlings is you wanna use a water-soluble fertilizer. So I have a liquid fertilizer here. This is an organic fertilizer. And it says 7 drops per liter. Now that is for regular plants, not little seedlings. You wanna do about half strength for seedlings. So what I'm gonna do in this water, I'm gonna put about 4 drops. 1, 2, 3, 4. There you go. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give them a drink. Let's move a little bit. And I'm gonna do this every 2 weeks until I put them in the ground. Now I don't want to fertilize these ones yet because they're still quite small and some of them have not even germinated yet. But here I have the broccoli and the Brussels sprout. And they are mature enough, actually. We want to cut out the little ones of here too. There we go. So just leaving one per. That one looks, I'm gonna say this one. There we go. So I'm gonna fertilize these guys too. Okay, there we go. So now they're gonna go right back under the lights. As these grow, you're gonna wanna raise the lights up. But as for right now, 4 inches is about right for them. So they're back on the shelf, under the lights, and they're doing so well. Even down here, the basil, the oregano, the chamomile, they're all coming up. It won't be long before we get to put these in the ground. I can't wait.